everybody, and welcome to Mahogany True Talk with my very self, Shirley everybody. We're going to be bringing on games at events in a second. They've already joined us. Hi, so it's nice to have you guys. Before I bring them on, let me just quickly do introductions. Um, Sorry. Mahogany True Talk is a weekly interactive show brought to you by Mahogany Productions and Events, which is an explorational event and production company that handles production and event management for clients. The show, of course, focuses on everything that has to do with events, from production to event management, hosts, music, and even food. We're bringing you the top guns in the industry to talk to you what the business is like, the struggles, the challenges, everything that they go through, and they say to you as it is, they tell you as it is. So we're going to be bringing a great team on board. So we like to bring a variety. So we're bringing games at events on now. So very different from some of the other, very important to the industry, like people that are caterers or people that are, I don't know, event planners, because sometimes without them, you can't use them. Hi.
Mishala, good evening.
How
How are you
you
doing,
doing?
sir?
How you doing? I
I'm very
thought there
good.
was
You're making me feel good.
where's your business partner?
No, he's concerned about money, so he went to face money things. For me, I can't.
You see, these guys, these are the people. That money comes first. So if it was a matter of going for a job and doing this show, they would dump us like that and disappear. We don't kill. Show us the way.
That's
Yeah?
just the way it is.
At least it's
Yes,
good. It means that the industry has started opening.
yeah.
So that's a good sign. So how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You're doing
Thank
good.
you.
Okay.
You're following in your footsteps, of course.
You can watch me. It's okay. You people are making money. I'm sitting here doing Instagram live.
Well,
You're following my footsteps. It's okay. Don't worry. Continue. Continue. Yeah.
yeah. How's the whole Mahogany team? How's everybody? Magege, why
Hey,
we've been in contact with us.
Ire, Magege, they will all be joining us soon. And we just came back from a site visit, so I think they are stuck in third mainland traffic. So I know my producer Wire is definitely stuck in traffic, and if I'm sure, Magege is not far behind.
Oh, I guess so.
Okay,
Okay, that's
so let me do the introductions. I'm still doing the introduction as if it was both of you, because
okay.
it was written for as if it was both of you. So let at least let people know that there's two of you involved in this. So
Thank you,
Games
sir.
at Events was founded in 2010 by Taiwo Akinsanya and Omotayo Balogun. And Games at Events is an event support company based in Lagos with interest in providing gaming facilities for events, coordinating team based and sporting events. They are passionate about events, safety, human capacity development, team bonding, amongst other recreational and development activities. Taiwo and Omotayo are young men, as you can see, beard gang, with great experience in the event industry, and they constantly strive to create environments that facilitate interaction and connections with people in a fun, wholesome, and entertaining way. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them to Mahogany True Talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That was awesome. Yeah.
So,
So yeah.
yes, so let me tell you what we like here, okay? This is not one of those talk shows where we ask you questions and you go, I'd rather not say, but it's like this. This is true talk. So
True
we
talk.
want you to
Exactly.
say it as it is. Okay? That's
Yes,
how
sir.
it is. So we start nice and easily and then we lead you into some, we want to pull out the juicy bits from you. So how did you start
Okay.
games at events?
Oh well. How did I start? Like, okay, games and events started around 2008, thereabouts, but officially started 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a long story, but I'm just going to make it very short. Okay. I work for this organization. I'm a very good member of Movement for Islamic Culture and Awareness. And 2008, we were to have Home Fest. And okay, 2009, we moved to Apapa Amusement Park. And what we realized was that only the children would play. Like whenever you're organizing anything fun fair, only children are being catered for in terms of maybe bouncy castles, play things and all. So the playground is really actually meant for the children in those days. So then I used to work in Apapa, and one day I went to the Mami market around there, and I saw some guys playing snooker. Usually you have snooker tables at maybe at the pubs or the clubhouses, or just in front of the barber's, shop or something. So in this case, actually, it was in front of the barber's shop, and I was like, this would be a good idea to have a snooker table at the microphone fest. And I discussed with my team head then. I was like, why not? So I spoke with one guy. I can't remember his name, Patrick or something. And I told him, come. I want to learn. They were all smoking a go. But I went to them and said, come. I want to learn this your table. How do you take carry him? I want to use that for Papa and use bench park. So it was like, but waiting. You never carry this table come up from here before now. I was like, I have this one. You go carry this one. How much I go pay? How much they collect per day? And it mentioned something ridiculous, maybe 500 naira or 1,000. That's what they make per day. I was like, no, I'll pay you multiple of that. Just give me this table. So we took this table. Then somehow we got the table tennis at the Apapa Amusement Park. This guy brought this table in Omolanke, like these cards. So we got a bookie and they brought the snooker table there. So that's how we started really. And subsequent years, I thought that okay, this is going to be a good business. And I saved up some money and I loaned some money and I got my first snooker table. So that's how games at event started. I got the first snooker table and I posted on Ireland. And I started to get calls. Yes, Ireland was actually the initial tool I used, and people were calling, hello, I want to rent a snooker table. And since then it's been wow. So from one equipment to another equipment, and started in 2010 officially, and ever since it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. Thank God.
So what you're saying then is that you started off more as a rental business. So it was like get a snooker table, rent it out to somebody. It wasn't actually starting off the business in terms of planning events and bringing games and stuff like that.
No, it was just equipment rentals. You need a snooker table poker, table tennis. We bring it to your event, and that was just all.
Okay, so run me through the services you render. Do you just supply games or rent and leave it? Do you offer other services like organizing bonding activities? Just give us an idea of the range of service. Let people understand, because I know they say at games and people just think it's just here, play this game. What's the full service you render?
Yeah, okay. Well, for us, we don't just render games. We don't just give you our games to use. We create experience. We create value. So when you're using our games, you're not just playing away. You're gaining something. We are bonding people. You're making you socialize. You're making you have fun and lasting memories. So we offer team bonding services, where we have and we bring in our variety of games and activities, and we have coordinators. Sometimes it depends. If it's competitive, we have umpires, to ensure that the game is it goes on right. Then apart from that, your company like you and all other experiential companies also engage us, to provide engaging activities for whenever they are launching a particular product, or they're trying to promote one product or the other. So we do that as well. And but we also organize fun fairs, or we partake in fun fairs and carnivals as well.
Okay. So now you say that you've expanded it, your reach is quite far now in terms
Yeah,
of what you do. Do you understand?
yeah,
So
yeah.
um if is it one size fits all, or do different events require different games and activities? And how do you decide what games go for what events? Is it based on the client? Is it based on your expertise? Is it based on budget? Talk us through the process. So if I'm an event planner, I don't know anything about games. I'm not one of those event planners that or a client that is clear in my head what I want. All I know is that I've heard about you, and I just want to spruce up my event. Talk me
Mhm.
through how you would manage that situation.
Okay, first of all, we need to understand the client's expectations, or should I say, most of the clients come with their plans to
Mm,
us, most of them. But some of them are like, okay, games at events, give us something that we can do at our event. Okay, then we ask them, what exactly is your event like? What do you want to achieve with this particular event? What are the audiences, you know? So we look at that before we decide to say, okay, this is going to be appropriate, this is going to be appropriate. Because we've been called on for almost every kind of event, almost every. The only thing I think we've not been called upon for is a funeral. This your Kuri, you understand? So,
that's
but
a bit
every kind of
expensive.
fun event, every kind will be called upon to, is it that they tell us this is what we want, or we advise them on what they want. So if it's children based, we
Mm-hmm.
have packages for that. But really, games at events started from the fact of a lack that there is nothing for the adults. So most of our games and activities are tailored towards the adults or the grown up. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So if your audience is an adult audience, depending on the age range, we say, okay, this is what we can provide for you. For instance, concerts, yes, we've been to concerts. So our games are usually pre-evening kind of arrangement. So we do a setup on that. So for early comers to the concert, as a matter of fact, it helps to bring early comers to the concert or to your shows or any program. So
Mm-hmm.
when you come, you have games to play around, maybe snooker, table tennis, any game. And sometimes, it's so unimaginable what some people would ask for in that environment. We've been to bank headquarters and we've taken snooker table and even table tennis. And you see bankers taking off their suit and playing. You understand? So it depends on your interest, and we also advise you on what is best for your events as well.
Hmm. Very interesting. What is so? What are the type of games that you have? So if I wanted to order, what kind of games do you have?
Okay, well, I would ask you what really you want to achieve with your event, but let me just give you a list of them. Of course, we have number one, pool table. We're at the one end of the year party, and the MD of that company actually was trying to play, or he made the snooker table there and was like, it's been like 10 years he had the queue. It's been like 10 years he played snooker table.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like that nostalgia we try to create. So of course we have snooker table, table tennis, table soccer. We have giant board games. We're the first company to to own a giant Ludo, giant Scrabble, giant draft, snakes and ladders, and our games are not just mere roll the dice and count. On each game, you have activities that you can do. So we create the bonding and the visualizing aspect of it. So we have bowling, we have the golf, miniature golf,
Mm-hmm.
short dance, tic-tac-toe. The list is quite long. I don't know if I can finish it
So
tonight.
do you do computer gaming events as well, or it's just hard events? Do you do like
Yes, we do. Yes, we do computer gaming events. Yes,
so what?
we
That's
have
what Xbox, PlayStation, or what type of event?
PlayStations, basically PlayStations, and we have the latest game applications on them.
Okay, so you've been doing this now for 10 years plus. Um,
Yeah.
how important is it to have games at your events? I mean, are games necessary for every event, or are there events where you don't need games? Have you ever been in a situation where somebody's invited you to an event and they want to potentially use your games, but you looked at the type of event it is and you said, "Excuse me," to the client, "Sorry, this is not going to work. It's not going to fit in with your theme. It's not going to fit in with your environment. It's not going to fit in with your venue." Or is it that no matter what happens, you always find a way?
Yes, that's just the answer. No matter what happens, we'll find a game that fits, no matter what it is. When we did Ethel Paddy party, and well, that's how I met Tayo. yes, Taiwo called me and was like, okay, he's organizing something for Airtel party. That was in 2014, I guess, and they want a snooker table and table tennis. And I'm like, this event is an high engaging. It's a show. It's like a concert in the night. Then how would you want to play snooker or table tennis in the night? You know, an indoor event, I say. And surprisingly, it was so engaging that someone was on this table for throughout the night while other things were going on. So our games are very relevant. They are very relevant to any kind of situation. Like I mentioned earlier, the only event that I think we've never been called on to is a funeral, housewarming, birthdays, concerts, shows, any kind of event you find, our games relevant.
Okay, so you have a partner, which is Tayo.
Yeah,
Tell me,
yeah.
how does relationship work? Who does what? Who's in charge of what? How does it work for you guys?
Okay. 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 Well, it's quite a little bit mixture. It's a mixture of expertise, really. But like I mentioned earlier, that Tayo is majorly the handles accounts, invoicing. It tells you how much it goes. Even up to today, someone still called me and I have to take back the Tayo, how much should we give this house? Because
Hmm.
that's the expert is a finance person. I'm also a finance person, but I'm more of a technical kind of person. So when it comes to holding the tape, measuring, what fit what, okay, kind of game fit into this environment, into this hall. We have this size of hall, kind of game I'm very much particular about. So when it comes to setting up and all, yes, you can call Taiwo. But
Hmm.
whenever it comes to money talk to Taiwo.
So he's the money man. So he's the one that knows
Mhm.
how much is coming in, how much is going out, what's
Exactly.
if it's profitable or it's not profitable. He's the one. But you're the one.
Yeah.
Then, if I understand that, you do all the running around. You make sure it's delivered. You make sure it's set up on time. So talk to me
Yeah.
about games. I mean, in terms of games now, you have a good variety of games. But if somebody was setting up this business, how often do they have to keep replacing the games? How often do you have to keep topping up? How do you manage with damage, with, let's say, chess pieces being lost, for example? Because you can't bring me a chess game, a big one, and then
Um,
three of the pieces have gone missing.
yes,
So how do you manage inventory and that side of the business?
yes, that's one of the challenges of the business, really. And yeah, after every event, we make sure we take stock again. We take stock to ensure that lost pieces are replaced. Any damage, we move. Most of our equipment are quite heavy, so
Hmm.
that there's no way you move them around. Then you have scratches, you have bruises around, you have something cutting off, something falling off. So we make sure that we do that periodically, or just immediately after we maintain our games. We do that quite often. So we don't want to
So,
miss anything out
mm.
for
So
the next
if
one.
you have like a bouncy castle, for example, do you have to, when it comes back to the office, do you have to set it up to check that it's not damaged? Because I'm assuming you can't wait to deliver it to the person, to another client, and suddenly realize it's damaged. What do you have to do in those situations? Talk us through your
Yeah, well,
maintenance
before it
and
gets past
process.
to the okay, okay, I think there's a network here.
Okay, I think there's a delay. So I was just saying,
Yeah,
talk us through your maintenance process.
okay, okay. We do like I said, we do maintenance regularly. And we get situation reports from events. Whenever anything happens during an event, sometimes things get damaged while it's being used.
Hmm.
Depends on how it's been, things get damaged. And immediately we take note that this has been damaged. We need to quickly replace it as soon as possible. For instance, for example, you mentioned bank accounts. Sometimes it may not be easy to set up bank accounts immediately, but we also ensure that our handlers are always on their toes and they give us the report all the time so that we don't miss anything out for the next event.
Okay, so that means when it comes back, you have to set it up. Do you have a warehouse? How do you store stuff?
Yes, we have a warehouse. We have a store, about two actually, where we keep these things, and we ensure that after from time to time we have someone that always we have a storekeeper and ensures that things are well kept, all the time. So, and we also do our checks ourselves. Like I'm the more technical person, so I go from time to time and I check and ensure that things are in place so that
Hmm.
we don't
So
go
your
our job.
stores, where are your stores? All on the mainland? Are they far away? Do you have one on the island, one on the mainland? How does it work?
Okay, I have well, rather we have one in Ogba. We have one in Ogba. Then we have one in Magoro. The Magoro is quite far, which is in Ogun State,
Hmm.
and it's actually meant for those items that are not regularly used. So they're like once in a while, items. We take them all the way, we ship them all the way to Magoro. But the regular ones are in Ogba.
So isn't that far going to Ogun State? So that does that not mean that if I called you 3 hours before an event because I suddenly realized I needed this, or a client suddenly tells me that they want this is do or die, that means I can't call you to bring that big event, that big item, because to get from Ogun State to maybe Ikoyi could take you 4 hours. You may not be able to travel during the day. I don't know the restrictions that we have. So how does that work?
Mhm. Yeah, like I mentioned, Ogba is for the major things, and we have multiples of each item. We have multiple. So if you have we have some snooker tables in Magboro, then we have some in Ogba. So Ogba is our main, pickup point. So Magboro is just like some things might not be, but if you have an event, I'm very sure that if you call 3 hours before, like you mentioned, we'll definitely get it to you. That means that that item, it's just the copies, like I said, copies would be in Magboro because they are not frequently used,
Mm.
Then the other ones, the frequent ones are always in Ogba. And we have vehicles that can quickly, get on the road and deliver these items.
Mm. Wow, this doesn't sound like an easy business. So, in terms of your gains, what would you say is your percentage or ratio of goods that you can make in Nigeria and goods that you have to import? And if you have to import them, your games, how easy is it? What's the process with customs, duty, all of those sort of stuff?
Okay, I must tell you that all our games except the Bounty Castle are made in Nigeria.
Even the snooker table.
It's made in Nigeria. You won't
That's
believe
why
it. It's
they
made
always
in.
slope like this. That
No.
explains that they're never level. They'll be sloping. You shoot ball, the ball will be curving like this. Okay.
No,
Now I
no, no, that's
understand.
not true. That's not true. Okay, okay. Our tables are made in Nigeria, but by a professional, by an international professional. Yes, it's studied from the white, so it makes them. Yeah, I've never bought a China table. If I'm going to ship in a standard quality snooker table, it has to be from from Europe or America, and that's going to be pretty expensive. So I want to make it here. And if you see our tables, they are what class standards. I won't lie to you. I know you know they're what class standards.
I shoot ball like this. It will do.
No, it's
It will go
no,
halfway
it's the
around the world
floor.
before it will get to the
It's where
top.
you take us to. Abishala, it's where you take us to places where the topography is not smooth. And next us to put it. So that's it.
So
But
okay,
our tables are
let's
top
use
notch.
that as an example because part of why we do this show is that we want people to understand what it's like running a business. So in case there are people here that are thinking about getting into the gaming industry, it's for them to also
Yeah.
understand. So like for instance now, and I mean you raised a very good point there. I mean I know I'm laughing, I'm joking about it, but it's a good point. So for instance
Yeah.
now when we did like the big union event, we had some indoors, but most of the games were outdoors. And of course, when you're putting on a football field or on grass, the
Yeah.
chances are the floor is not going to be level or even.
Yeah.
So, do you
Definitely.
come always prepared for that, or do you just think, man, that's their problem, let them deal with it?
No, 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 no. We do before that. Before the setup day, we do site assessment to understand what kind of um, place you are taking us to. You know, we look at the environment, the topography, and we prepare for that definitely. You know, snooker table and table tennis are quite, they have to be on a level ground, especially for snooker table. So we come with, with things that we can use to level it. And we also have plums to ensure that it is well leveled. But sometimes, in reality, sometimes we may not really achieve the perfect, leveling. Do you understand? It's only when we have a competition, like international competition, that we must have the perfect leveling. But because it's just for fun and all that, well, that's where the fun is. Sometimes when things are not so perfect, it's catch fun in it. But we try as much as possible to ensure that the situation is perfect. We try to do that. When people play games, sometimes unexpectedly they are very serious about it. So especially the team bonding games, where it's just supposed to be fun, just come together and have fun. People
Yes,
take it so
do or
seriously,
die.
like yeah,
Yes.
do or die. Thank you. We've had situations where they've almost fought us. No, I'm the force, but so we had to use VAR. Use our phones to do VAR to ensure that we so it's a little challenging, but day by day we are improving. We're improving.
Okay, so in terms of oh my God, I had a question in my head that I needed to ask you, and it's kind of gone out the window. I will come back to it. I know what it was. Okay, now you provide a lot of games, bouncy castles, like I said, a whole variety of stuff to people. Now, if I remember correctly, when we've done events from you, I might be wrong because I don't always do the invoicing. I know it's Wiry and GM that does it. But do you take damage deposits? And also, if you do take damage deposits and somebody ruins your bouncy castle, for example, or they smash a snooker table in half, I'm sure the damage deposit is not going to cover replacing that. If you don't take damage deposit, how does it work if one of your equipment or your equipment are damaged?
Well, first of all, we don't take damage deposit. We don't at all. We don't. We
I
don't.
thought so.
Because it's usually controversial, and like something damages, and I'm telling you, Oga, 30,000 what you give me for damages, I could take 10,000. It's like no, no, it's not my fault now. It's blah blah. So we don't usually want post event controversies like that. So we don't take damage deposits at all. We don't. Um, so when anything gets damaged, we fix it on our own. We bear it as our own loss and we fix it. But if it's a total damage or like 50% damage, we can talk to the clients and tell him that, see, this happened. Okay, so look at what you can do about it. I took a a table tennis somewhere. Ah, my God. My goodness. I took a table tennis somewhere. First of all, the table was an indoor table. They used that table. I wasn't there. My handler was there. They needed a beer pong table. They should have just requested for a beer pong table, but they used my ping pong table as a beer pong table. First of all, they poured wine and drink on my table. First damage. Secondly, they left my game in the rain
Chai.
and it got wet. And that table was 100% damage. Do you know what? Because it was a public place, I couldn't trace this client. Up to today, I couldn't trace her. you know. But I found that as a loss, and as
And but
I
who did
learned
the
on, I
booking
learned
though? Didn't they book it or what? The person,
no,
somebody
a
must have
lady
booked the
booked.
table.
Yeah, a lady booked over the phone. She made the bookings, and I sent. I was even there. To set up. I was there to set up, but I left. And the next day, I returned to pick my items. They were totally damaged. And for me to reach out over the phone, I couldn't anymore. So that's the scam. That's one kind of scam that I have to just bear on my own.
So
But
you,
ever since then, I've left.
so you now have to bear the loss of that.
I had to.
So,
I had
so
to.
you
I had
hire
to.
out a. You see, this is what people that are listening would want to understand. You hire out the table. Let's just say for 10,000 naira, 15,000 naira, whatever the price is. It's not going to be that much. They damage
Yeah.
it completely, and then you end up having to spend 100,000 naira to replace it. What kind of business are you guys doing?
No, that was then. Like I said, I've learned. I've never do that. What happened was that you know what happened. Yeah, but some events they say they are private events. They don't want to handlers around. They want to use your table. So in this case, it was what happened. They were like, okay, no hand. But sometimes, but like I said, I've learned over time that if you want it that way, you must pay a deposit, damage deposit. But if you want my handler to be there, you don't have to pay the deposit. You know, it's going to ensure that everything goes on well. So this was about maybe 7 years ago, thereabout.
Mm.
I was still on my own and I was still learning on the business. So this was the case. It was a public, it was a club house actually. It was a club. So by the morning everybody had left. Even the girl that called me for this job, she had left. And I got there, I didn't meet anybody. So I had to carry my carters and go. You know, and I kept calling her and she didn't pick her call. So but ever since then, if you don't want if you want, you must have an handler. Sorry, my handler must be there to ensure that things go on well. If not, to pay for that maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think just my own personal little piece of advice. I think bearing in mind how we are in Nigeria, I think it has to be really non-negotiable that if you're not ready to take my handler, I'm not giving you my stuff.
Yes, that's my game.
As
Definitely, yes.
simple as that. And the other reason why you can say is, look, in case there's the table collapses or the I don't know the bouncy castle
Yes,
runs out of
yes.
there,
And
there's
Andy
always
has to
someone
be
there
there. Someone has
to look
to be
after it
definitely.
and stuff like that. Because I mean, I remember
Definitely.
we've had incidences. I'm not going to say it was your company, but we've had incidences where you've had the bouncy castle, and either the generator was too powerful for it, was not powerful enough, or wires were
Exactly.
touching.
We're talking, yeah.
Things had to be resolved like that. So the handlers that
Yeah.
you have on site, are they technical handlers or are they just people just to supervise that, there's not 200 kids on the bouncy castle at the same time? What kind of staff, or do you have a mixed match of staff? What kind of staff do you have at any given event? Talk me through whether it be a small event or a big event.
Okay. We have a mix. We have the technical guys. You know, most of the events I'm there as a technical person. Then we have the handlers just to ensure that things go on well. If something collapses, they are there to make sure it goes back up. You know, especially when a Jenga game is whenever it collapses, it has to be rearranged. So the handler is there. Like you mentioned, kids, you don't want too many kids on the bouncy castle. Is there to coordinate that, you know. So, but when it's too technical, electrical, and things that I know that they cannot handle, most of the time I'm there. Most of the time if I'm not there, another person is there that I trust that can handle that.
Okay. So do your staff have to go through any particular type of training? How does it work for them?
No, we not really. So we train them on the job. We
Mm.
train them on our own. So they learn on the job. So for this particular set of handlers, we've been using them for about 3 years now. So they're quite
Okay, good.
reliable.
So you've got an established team that you work with, they understand how you work, they understand what needs to be done, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Okay. So you also do team bonding for corporate bodies, am I correct?
exactly.
Okay. So you go to their staff retreats and such. How does that work? So, for instance, now, do they tell you what they want? Do you come up with ideas? Talk through the process from when they contact you till the end of the event.
Okay, yeah. Basically, what we do is that for most of the team building events, for most of them, they throw it at us. They ask us to give them ideas of what they can have. So it depends if it is majorly equipment based or it's just activity. So and before every event, of course, we must have had series of meetings, to understand what they want and also to establish our deliverables. So they come to us and we tell them that this is ideal for this is not ideal. Sometimes, we've started planning or rather we're executing and an MD or someone, a director comes from somewhere and says that no, you can't do this, this is too dangerous, this is too, risky, you can't do this, and they take it out. So but most of the time we ensure that we have a clear cut communication of what you want and how to go about it. So it's a process. Sometimes it takes like 3 4 months for us to for us to plan it. So we plan most of the time. They have their own planning committee as well. So we work together hand in hand to ensure that we have a seamless and team bonding event.
So what's the difference between you and event planner? So if I'm the event planner there planning this retreat, and then you come and you're meant to be organizing the games, how do you avoid conflict? How does it work between yourselves?
Okay, as the event planner, basically, as the event planner, your job is to ensure that the event goes on smoothly and seamlessly. We are vendors. We are providing services. So if you have a clear-cut understanding of each other's ways of deliverables, we won't have issues. We won't have any clashes. So we see ourselves as vendors or service providers. We see you as the manager.
But
You
Taiwo, I
understand?
actually disagree with you on this one. We're talking about
Hmm.
corporate retreats, staff retreats now. Yes? Not this
Okay.
not just about supplying equipment. This is you're doing a staff retreat. They have a series of games, whether it be running, egg and spoon race. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
There's a whole divide
Yeah.
them into teams and climbing up Mount Everest, whatever the thing that they come up with.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that you will come up with those different ideas. But if you're coming up with them, I know that my team as well might have a whole variety of ideas as well. Who's the boss? How does it work? How do you manage those situations? Because it might be a situation whereby, let's give this for example, client brings you on board, yes, tells the event planner, hey, I work with games, all right? Those
Yeah.
ones, yes, sir,
Okay.
yes, sir, yes, sir,
Okay.
yes, sir. You now come,
Okay.
expert. Okay, I want to do this. 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 We know that
Oh.
when we did it for this company, it worked. When we did it for that company, it worked. Event planner now,
Hmm.
excuse me, I've already mapped up and planned what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
How do you manage it?
Well, we've had very rare of such situations. Sincerely, we've had so because most of the time the organizers and the event planners would have brought us together before the event. They must have done that. We request for that. Okay, we'd like to know your. Most of the time, the event planners are the first contact for the organizers. But in the case where we have the organizers, they they bring up the event planners and we meet and we harmonize things before the D-Day. So hardly do we have such clashes rather on events. But when it does happen, of course, we go back to the organizer for settlement. But sometimes, if the event manager or the planner, if it's event manager, so to say, is quite reasonable and mature, we can iron things out. Yeah. As long as the event objective is being achieved, we'll find the
Okay,
solution.
so tell me, what is the worst ever event you've had and what made it really bad?
Ah, bad, bad, bad. Can I say? I can't really think of what really made any event bad. Mm, wow. But I can't think of most of them have been. I can't really pinpoint one to say that something went too bad and it's a foul. Sincerely, I cannot.
So you're trying to tell me,
Uh,
Jaya, that you guys are so perfect that it's
we
not
are,
a bad event.
we are.
I've not met a single vendor in the event industry that has not had at least one mishap or bad event. It's not happened.
Yeah, well, as a whole, I don't think we've had any terrible event to tell us that no, we really failed. Yes, we've had issues, we've had that, but on a scale of 1 to 100, I can't say that 60%. But we are not perfect, but we are super. I think.
So you've never had
you
a
know.
situation you're doing bouncy castle, the pump doesn't work.
Wait. Let me tell you something. Yes, Mahogany. I remember ARM. ARM from fair.
Oh, so I don't want to mention. I was giving you tips before. I gave you tips before. Remember, I said the wire did not work. I gave you tips before. I'm waiting now. You see how I was leading you to lamb to the slaughter. I was bringing you in saying, hey, you don't want to talk. You will talk this one by phone.
Oh my God! You know what? You know what happened at Lakwe? That was actually the first job Mahogany. I think it was Mahogany that called. And it was like games at events, blah blah blah. We need that. We had a list of everything. And the day before, like I said, I have learned so well on this business. The day before, I sent every equipment. Like, okay, then I was still working on proper, so I didn't have the time. Now, Saturday morning, I left Malagumeji very early. Getting to Lekki, my gear broke. My transmission got bad. I was like, my nigga was calling, and Hoga, where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? I'm coming.
That's right.
You can remember it was terrible. I got to the venue, and my events, my stops were everywhere, were just scattered everywhere. It was a terrible day. It was a terrible one, and I started to run. I didn't even know where to start from. I started to run, and I had just one handler then. It was a terrible one. And in the end, now give me my balance, so they come out 20,000 now.
Yeah, lucky it was just 20,000. Yeah, so lucky. That's so lucky.
Yeah, that was a terrible one. I learned on really. It was
you see, guys, this is how you catch your vendors out. Sometimes they like to suffer from amnesia. I like to come and tell you and show you that everything is picture perfect. Because that event, let me just tell you, my whole team, when people say to us, have you ever had a bad event? Yes.
Wow.
We always use that event as an example. It wasn't just you. There were other things. The generator packed up from, what do you call these people that gave us? Rapid Rentals. They had to bring another one from town. That took like 2-3 hours to come. Then another hour to set up in the middle of the event. Your game,
I remember.
Didn't work. It was what you call an event from hell, from beginning to the end. So I just wanted you to open your mouth. I've never had a bad event. I can't really think of it. Continue there. Continue.
Oh my goodness. I will put it myself, But really,
I made you in before. I said, let me not mention any names. I said, when the wire didn't work, when the pump was not working. Remember, we had to get different generators to get
I remember.
To work.
I remember. Oh my God. It was. Then I hadn't, I never agreed to. My ego was like, come and do overnight sets. I was like, don't worry. Very early in the morning, I'll be there.
Right.
Very early in the morning, I'll be there. And it was terrible. My God. Well, thanks for giving us another opportunity. At least we did so well with Edu 360.
Yes,
2018.
You did well after that. I mean, you have to thank my Gege for that. She brought you back, because if it was up to me, I'd have lined you against the wall with submachine gun. That would be. So we never have.
Oh my God. Oh.
My clients gave me hell. It was not even.
Shit.
And you didn't have enough handlers that day. So we had all these kids, remember? They had all the different games that needed to be played, and there wasn't enough people to direct them. So I'm hoping that with that kind of experience, and that was why I asked you that, have you learned from that? And what were the kind of lessons that you learned from that?
We've learned time management. We've learned about assessing the situation before taking on job. He said if I never knew Lakwe was very far. And on that thing, yes, communication between the clients and us, it really matters. My assumption was that the event wouldn't start until like 2:00 in the afternoon. So when I get there in the morning, it does not take time. And whenever we have the partners to come on jobs like that, and they're like, I'm not worried, they can't. Tibi's party, what's Tibi's birthday? it's 2 or 3 they will start. I'm like, no, lie. Even if they're going to pay you extra to bring those items a day before. So most of the time we do Eve jobs. Eve, did it first. There was one did it first concert that we did, and we were there 2 days before.
Good.
Coca Creative is like they will like bring it. Don't worry, it's in the evening. Bring it in the morning. Not lie. Now the next day, because they've also learned, they've also learned that vendors could fumble anytime. So we understand, and we make sure that punctuality, is one of our values.
Good. So, my question is more general. It's like, what other challenges have you faced in the course of running your business, and how have you managed them? Those general challenges, whether it be from finance to stocking to storage to clients. What are the kind of things?
Yeah.
What are the kind of things that people need to think about?
Yeah, majorly storage. Storage can be a little bit expensive, and challenging. So if you are because our items, okay, initially the items when I started the business, it was just a seasonal business. So you only get calls maybe during Easter or December, end of the year, and very few because people hadn't known the business that much. But now it's almost like a weekly affair. Most Sometimes even daily. There was a time like especially when we're moving close to the end of the year, it's always call here, call there. Tonight they are in Lekki Phase One, you know. Tonight they're in Lekki Phase One. Even being a week here. So every day. So that means that's why initially we had the Magbo store, then we had to move to Ogra because we needed to ensure that we're closer to our clients. You understand? So storage one of them. Secondly, well, financing to expand for expansion and all that because most of the time whatever comes in goes back into the business that so that we can expand. Basically that. Then logistics, handlers sometimes drivers will fuck you up. I'm sorry to use that terminology. Drivers would when we started we didn't have our own vehicles, so we used to call someone to do that, and it tells you, okay, I'm coming, and it never shows up. You find an alternative. It goes to the third mainland bridge, it breaks down, and you have to transload, and the client is calling. So it's logistics is usually a lot of challenges, but we are learning. We're trying to improve. So we have our vehicles, and we ensure that they're always maintained and always ready to go.
So those are your challenges. Okay, my final question to you. I mean, it's been a great session. My final question to you is that I always like to give my guests a chance to say anything that they want to say about themselves, their business, anything they'd like to say, advice that they want to give people that are listening is yours. Anything you want to say, please feel free.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to expose our business. Um, yeah, it's very rare. When you called me, I was like, yeah, I'm going to come face to face with Mr. Mahogany. It was like I was like, I've been watching True Talk, and I've been seeing them Sophia events. I've been seeing Uncle Kumi and everyone. I'm like, hey, well, those are the big ones. So I never even tried to say that. Okay, why or Magege, talk to Uncle now. Make me some show now. Because me, that me, here we are. We are still down, down the ladder. But thank you so much for bringing us on. And I must tell you that I started games at events when I was earning very little. The first look at what I got was from my salary and loan from my mom. And that's how I got it. In fact, the first few jobs I had, whenever any money comes in, like the full payment goes back to buying the new equipment.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That was something I did one fair in Unilag, and I had to buy a table soccer. It was like a 5-day trade fair, and the money that came from that job went to buying the table soccer, and the table soccer got damaged within 3 days.
Right.
It didn't even last up 5 days. It got damaged, and it was a total loss. But it didn't stop me. You understand? It didn't stop me. I kept going. And up to now, I thank God. So I just want to tell the younger ones that nothing is impossible. If you have a passion, fuel your passion with your time, with the little coins you have, fuel it, it's going to come up with something really great for you. So that's just what I want to say. I want to say thank you to you, first of all, and to every other event managers, companies that you've worked with. They've really, you know, brought us to, they really brought us out of the shell and exposed us, to a lot of possibilities and opportunities. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Taiwo, it's been great having you on the show. Um, you will be able
Yeah.
to watch back the video or let Omotayo see it later. So
So,
that's
thank
not a
you.
problem. Of course, we wish you the best of luck. It's good to see you. I've already started making money. We haven't been started making money, but we can see you're already making money. But
Ah,
yeah,
there you come.
continue.
We are waiting for
Continue.
you. I've not gotten your credit this year.
Uh,
Duro, we are waiting.
Me, I've
Our
not
bank is
received
open.
credit this year, so I'm not
It will
surprised that I've
come.
not received credit this year.
No, if your credit doesn't come inside this year, and I won't kind, we are waiting for your
Okay.
credit.
We are waiting for the credit to come. But we wish you the best of luck. And thank you for coming on board. It's been great. It's given
Thank you,
people a
sir.
different insight. It's let people understand what it's like running a game, an events business that you run. You're, of course, as always, very articulate, very professional in what you do. So we really appreciate you. Give my
Thank
regards
you
to
so much.
your business partner, and we shall see you again soon.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Have a good
Good
night,
night.
sir. Good night.
Guys, that was a great show, of course, bringing you games at events. I bet a lot of people may not even have known that there are companies out there that do these sort of stuff. You sometimes see the games and you think, how did these come? Anyway, I'm just going to play them. Or you get an opportunity to play these games, which you would not normally have had normally. So I hope you found it very interesting. We will, at Mahogany True Talk, we will continue to bring you different types of people that are within the event industry to let you see what they're doing. But more importantly, why we do these shows is not just to hear from them or for them to advertise their businesses, but it's for you in case or your friends or family that might be thinking of setting up a business in that particular genre to understand what it entails, to understand the challenges, the difficulties, the problems around financing, money. Like you heard, about damages with games at events. They're continuously having to replace equipment, which they can't go back to the client to get the money from. So if you're setting up that kind of business, this is one of the things that you're going to have to consider. So that's the purpose of doing these events, is to give you industry knowledge, stuff that people would not normally share with you. If you call them out of the blue and say, please tell me how you do stories, tell me how you do damage, they will just look at you and say, who are you? Well, I want to tell you. So we bring you programs like this so they will tell you. Guys, we're going to be back again on Thursday with Fashion's Finest chat room. Also, we've got a new show on YouTube called The Ugly Truth with Wari. Great show. She just gives it brutal, opinionated. It is what it is. She says it as it is. She talks about all kinds of issues. She gives you her views as they are. So please check that out. That's only being shown on YouTube along with FFA Stop. So please check those out. We're back again with Mahogany True Talk next week with another great guest. So please join us, guys. Remember, COVID is real. Stay safe, social distancing, wear your mask. Okay, guys? Good night and take care.